It's time for News and Brews, reporting on all things industrial machinery, AI, robotics, and advancements in automation. It's ATX West correspondent Jacob Sanchez.
Space. It's often referred to as NASA's playground. It's often referred to as SpaceX, Boeing, their backyard. I'm here with a story to let you know that aerospace, that industry, it's meant for all of us. It's so much more. It's about the leisure industry. It's about resource consumption. It's about manufacturing. It's about all of us finding new ways to innovate and to create and change lives. And I'm here with a stunning woman with a passionate story about how her company, and their product are helping the world see our industry in a very different light. Nicole Wagner, thanks for being on the show.
Thanks, Jacob. So, it's great to be here. As you mentioned earlier, my name is Nicole Wagner. I am the president and CEO of LambdaVision. And what LambdaVision is doing is we are developing a protein-based artificial retina to help patients that are blinded by end-stage retinal degenerative diseases. So diseases like macular degeneration and retinitis pigmentosa.
I should have done my homework a little better. I knew you were very important. I didn't know you were CEO important. So I'm even happier now. You said before the camera started rolling, you had something to show me. What did you want to show me?
Sure, yes. So I did bring my artificial retina technology that we've been developing. This is the technology that is going to be inserted into the back of the eye to help patients that are, again, blinded by macular degeneration or retinitis pigmentosa.
So I know I just turned 25. I basically have a foot in the grave. My eyes aren't this bad yet. I can't see anything. What am I looking for? Where's the product?
So this little tiny purple dot right there is what is going to be inserted in the back of the eye.
So this is what you guys did on the space station. So give my audience, give me a little bit of refresher. I know you guys had to manufacture this in space. The Zero G's helped with the construction of this product, correct?
Correct.
Dive into that a little bit with me. Talk about how that journey went, how you guys even came to comprehend, how we should make this product in space.
Sure. So let's take some steps back, right? As I mentioned, we are a UConn spinoff company. So that's the University of Connecticut, where we worked under the guidance of Dr. Robert Burge. And what Bob Burge is he's a pioneer in using these light-activated proteins, the protein bacteriorhodopsin, for device architectures. So back in 2016, we were actually part of Mass Challenge. And so for the audience, if you don't know what Mass Challenge is, it is an accelerator program that is helping small businesses really commercialize their technologies. So, back in 2016, we were part of that program, and one of the sponsors of Mass Challenge is CASIS, which is the Center for Advancement of Science and Space, in Boeing. And so, funny thing, I'm sitting in a room literally like this.
Is this the pizza store? Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
So we're sitting together, and somebody comes and knocks on the table and is like, "Hey, Nicole, by the way, there's some pizza down the hall, and we have CASIS in Boeing here. Come check it out." And not anything to do. I'm literally looking at my watch. I got an hour. And what they said is, what the opportunity is to do work in microgravity. So things like leveraging microgravity for patients on Earth. And so that's really where the start of this being able to be manufactured on the ISS really got kicked off.
I want to interrupt real quick. You basically started the adventure of innovation for this product because of a pizza party. We joke about pizza parties a lot in the industry, but I guess they're good for something.
Yeah, it was this is it. Sometimes, you're giving out those free candies, you're giving out, pizza down the hall, free beer. That's the way to get people to come and talk.
So building off that, now that we have some of that background, thank you for backing me up a little bit. What was it like being a company producing this product for consumers back on Earth? What are some words that you have on the aerospace industry in that regard? As I was saying, usually it's referred to as NASA's playground, Boeing's backyard. You don't see anybody else doing anything in that space. What are some of your opinions on that?
Yeah, so, as a company that traditionally does terrestrial. I hate using that word, right? We're doing work on Earth. Thinking about how we could do things in space was a very different mindset, right? We had to take an experience, or not experience, an experiment where it's really an open system. So you can imagine if we're, your coffee cup right here, right? We are floating a substrate material onto this, whatever's in this solution right here. And so on Earth, that process is very much subject to the effects of gravity. So things like sedimentation, evaporation, convection, surface tension are all going to play a role in the way that this protein gets deposited onto our scaffold. So fast forward to take an open beaker system like this and put it into a microgravity environment, it's not easy, right? I mean, you can't just have things floating around on an ISS. So we were actually partnered with a great group of people from Kentucky. It's a group called Space Tango, where what they did is they helped us take our open beaker system, miniaturize it to about the size of a shoebox, and then that is what we actually fly on the International Space Station. So, for us, it's not that we didn't think we could do work on the ISS, but as a company that traditionally does work on the ground, it was, how do we take this crazy system and then be able to make it work on the International Space Station?
A question that I had that I've been thinking about for a long time is why and when companies break into industries, why they break into certain sectors. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized I didn't like that term. I don't know why you would want to break into an industry just to get into an industry. I want to solve problems. The reason that I like being an engineer and I like being in this industry is because I get to solve problems. I get to create things. What is your opinion on companies breaking into industries, and should they rather be looking to solve problems like I feel like your company did? You guys saw a need for this degenerative, right, disease, and you wanted to solve that problem. What's your opinion on that? What's some advice you can offer companies to start looking to build their company in?
Well, I think for any company, you need to have a problem, right? You're not going to make money as a business unless you have a problem that you're trying to solve. Otherwise, it's just a fun project, right? So for us, I mean, first and foremost, it is how do we restore vision to these patients that are blinded by these diseases? That's a huge problem in the United States, and one that is continuing to, we're getting more and more patients that are going to be blinded. There's no cure for these patients. So I think obviously having a big problem is to solve is something that you want to do. And then how do you take that problem and find clever ways to solve it? How do you really be creative? That includes bootstrapping and how you're financing things. It includes, unique engineering designs. It includes, working with a team of individuals that you can really, leverage their varying capabilities and expertise. So I think you're right. You don't want to say you're breaking into a sector. That kind of feels like you're trying to fit into something that you're not fitting into. Yeah. We're solving a big problem. How are we going to solve it? Who can we reach out to solve it? And if it involves, going to space, if it involves the ISS, that's a great part. I mean, the other thing I really like to talk about, too, in the space industry is that, one of the things when you're starting a business people talk about is the team and the importance of the team. Literally, by partnering with NASA and the work that they're doing, we became partnered with rocket science. These are super, super smart people that are really changing the world. And so our team instantly grew through this partnership and the collaboration with ISS National Labs.
That's a good point that I try to bring up to a lot of the companies. Even when they go to trade shows and stuff like this, no matter your size, there's a way that you can get involved on this floor. Oh, we don't have the money. Well, you do got maybe a big mouth, and you can work your way into talking to a booth and saying, hey, you guys do this with your product. We kind of fit in there. What if we design this little demo cell and you let us come there, present, and be in the booth with you guys? There's so many ways that partnerships can not just help maybe sometimes the bigger party, but also the entering party. But it takes a lot of work, and you have to be willing to bring the plan a lot of the times is what I've seen. You can't just go hat in hand and say, hey, you want to be friends? You want to work together? It has to be also mutually beneficial.
I think that's a good point. I mean, what I think about, I get this question all the time, is how do you build a team with no money? I mean, when you first start a business, you have very little capital, and so you have to be really, really resourceful in how you utilize those resources. And what I learned really quickly is that what motivates people is different for everyone. And so for a surgeon, it might be being on a cutting edge technology. For somebody who has a family that's, a family member that's blinded by this disease, it might be they're wanting to solve this problem. Yeah. For an intern, it might be that they're looking for an opportunity to do something cool and a letter of recommendation. Yeah. So it really is all about finding out what makes people tick, and then trying to get them to have the same passion about what you're doing as well.
There was one more point that I want to hit on. We have a few minutes left. You told me this story about your daughter, I believe it was your daughter, helping NASA. I want to talk about the work that we can all do in our industries, the work that we can do every day to show these students and these young kids that some of these make-believe jobs are real. They're fun. You can get involved and help NASA when you're older. You can figure out a way to help astronauts. It's not just some fairy tale dream. Can you just give our audience some info on that?
Yeah, I mean, the story I often tell is about my daughter. So she was in kindergarten, and she said to me, Mom, you know how you work with NASA, and you know how parents are always really proud of their kids? And I said, yeah, kind of half looking, expecting, where's this going? And she said, well, Mom, today you're going to be really, really proud of me. And I said, so why? And she said, well, today I helped NASA. And I said, oh, really? What did you do? And she said, well, I helped, she built a Lego rocket, put tin foil so it could go to deep space and exploration. But what was really cool is that she related that to the work that I was doing. And so I think the impact of talking about science, putting yourself out there, doing really creative things is really important for the future generation. Yeah. Equally as important is that space is not just for science and engineers anymore. It is for, lawyers. It is for people designing the next space station. It is for people sewing new spacesuits. I mean, this is an area where, just because it doesn't have your buzzword in it, it doesn't mean that you can't be involved.
Yeah. Nicole, I want to thank you for your time today. I want to thank you for everything that your company and your team is doing to help people's quality of life, to help them live better, to be better. Something that you just said that resonates with me is that NASA, this industry, the things we do in aerospace, it's not just for the engineers, it's not just for these high levels, the IMTs. The same goes for this industry. This industry is not for the degens. This industry is not for the failures, it's not for the losers, it's not for the nerds. It's for you. If you want to do something creative, if you want to be somebody that is helping change the world, move the world, keep everything that we use and do running on a daily basis, this industry's for you. Get involved, do something, and it doesn't have to be the technical. You can be the marketing person. You can be the seller. You can be the project manager. You can be a doer in manufacturing and automation. Nicole, thank you for your time. Thank you for all that you do.
Much.
Thanks for joining us at News and Brews.